from North Carolina.
That I yield myself 10 minutes, and I ask unanimous consent that I be permitted to deliver my remarks seated at my desk.
Without objection.
Thank the chair.
So ordered.
Mr. President, I tried to count the number of senators who were even around on December 7, 1941, and there are not many of us left. Many of us, I can't say that I'm a party to it, were not even born. Now, Senator Thurman was around for the War of 1812, I think, but bless his heart, I'm so pleased he's still here. And I remember that Sunday, we came out of church and heard about the bombing of Pearl Harbor. And as one of the editors of the afternoon, 6-day-a-week newspaper in Raleigh, North Carolina, I prevailed upon the publisher of the Raleigh Times to let's put out an extra. And it was the last extra newspaper put out in the state of North Carolina, to my knowledge. And I remember that we sold 12,000 approximately, and that pleased the management of the newspaper. After we did that, I went 3 blocks up the street to the post office and to the Navy recruiting station. And I volunteered. I did pretty well, except they turned me down because of my hearing in my left ear. And I recall that I was so disappointed, but over the corner was the Chief Petty Officer of the Navy, career Petty Officer. And I think that I never saw a Chief Petty Officer of the Navy who talked any way except out of the side of his mouth. And he said, "Hey boy, come over here." And I went, and he said, "You want to get this man's Navy?" And I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Well, I got some friends in BUPERS." Well, I didn't know what BUPERS was, but I later found out it was Bureau of Naval Personnel. And I thought he was pulling my leg, but it turned out that he wasn't. About 2 months later, I received a waiver, and I was sworn in the Navy and went to San Diego for 2 or 3 months training. That's beside the point, except to say that the recruiting station that day was filled with young men. They all wanted to defend their country. A lot of them didn't know where Pearl Harbor was or what Pearl Harbor was. But they came anyhow because they realized that their country had been attacked unfairly. And that's the reason we won the war. And that was a time when the accepted and effective policy of the United States of America was to seek out and find, and when necessary, destroy the leaders of forces resorting to violent harm to the American people. Now that policy was in effect, as I say, on December the 7th. But in the days or years following, some in the political circles decided to substitute for a two-fisted warning to creatures who made their threats by crashing airliners loaded with innocent Americans. And I studied what has happened. And I was encouraged again to hear the President of the United States last evening and again this morning to say, in effect, we're going to get them. They're not going to get by with it. That was the attitude in 1941 when Franklin Roosevelt, and I'm the only one present in the Senate who heard him say it, this is a day that will live in infamy. Yesterday was a day that better live in infamy. Not since the War of 1812, Madam President, has Washington been attacked by a hostile adversary. And the attack on Pearl Harbor, of course, matched the cowardly actions in both their surprise and swiftness that occurred yesterday. But the losses are more enormous yesterday in terms of lives, innocent lives, than the astronomical numbers as I viewed them in 1941 at Pearl Harbor. Now, the policy that I just mentioned of going after adversaries of this country was in effect on December the 7th, but somewhere along the line, it ended after World War II. A mindset in some political circles was substituted for a two-fisted warning to vicious creatures who made their threats by crashing airliners loaded with innocent Americans into structures in New York and Washington. Now, those were the kind of architects that created that disaster yesterday in New York and Washington. And I hope I will live to see the day when it will once again be the policy of the United States of America to go after the kind of sneaky enemies who created this morning's headlines in the papers by crashing those airplanes and creating mayhem and disaster and bloodshed and loss of lives. Kay Bailey Hutchinson mentioned the young lady who called her husband on one of the planes on a cell phone. I said, what am I going to tell the pilot? All of us had seen her many times on television and enjoyed her, and I'm going to miss her. But I hope we will be two-fisted together, standing together. And I think that President Bush laid down the Bill of Particulars, and I believe that he's going to say, let's get back in the game today and punish these people who do things like that. I intend to do my best as a United States Senator to encourage and supplement such a revival of a policy that once protected the lives and property of the innocent American people. Roosevelt was right. That was a day of infamy, December 7th. And yesterday, 9/11 was also a day of infamy. Madam President, we must sing wherever it happens around this world. I yield back the balance of my time.
The senator from
Mr.
Delaware.
President, I would like to ask my colleague from North Carolina if he's willing to, we would on our side have 10 minutes now, but two of our colleagues, one has to go to California and one up to New Jersey because of so many folks involved in the trade tower. If they were willing to split their 10 minutes, it would be all right to have them go in succession. I spoke with the senator from Mississippi, and he has a UC. I think that's fine. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
But I understand the senator from Mississippi has a request that he wishes to make first.
Madam President, I thank the
Senator from
senator
Mississippi.
for yielding to me. I think the resolution before the